We are the ministry of the real truth, and this is a lesson for today. We are going to look at the Breetah in the Aramaic, or Genesis in English, of the original ancient, very old, sacred scribal old tongue or language spoken by God to Adam and Eve in the garden, and by the men at the Tower of Babel, supposedly, they who spoke that one language. The Lshana Ateeqa SuppraYah, or the sacred scribal language of God, of the very old Ktav Ashurit, or Aramaic, the older sister language of the Ktav Ivri, or Ivri, the original ancient very old Hebrew, translated into the nearest English equivalent by native-born Aramaic-speaking translator. He speaks many dialects. Filmmaker, Mesopotamian history buff, Victor Nimrod Alexander. For we came across his website years ago when it was up. It was down, and we found a way to revive it, and that's what we bring to you throughout our YouTube channel, The Ministry of the Real Truth, and the many videos that we've created and uploaded. So today we're going to talk about Rabisu or Rabishu. It is a picture, an ancient picture from Syria. This is probably Gilgamesh or something like that, hunting this particular beast, or something similar. So we're going to have a look at the Breetah, or creation, which is the real name of the book of Genesis. The word comes to us from the scribal language of the Jewish people. This is the name of the first book of the scriptures we know as Genesis in English, in the ancient Hebrew Aramaic. Victor N. Alexander's translation of the Old Testament utilized the cuneiform manuscripts discovered by archaeologists in Mesopotamia in the late 19th century AD. The Ashurit king Ashurbanipal, during his 7th century BC reign out of Nineveh, sent out emissaries, or agents, or missionaries, to the southern region, the land of Shinar or Sumer and Chaldee, Babylonia. Ur of Chaldee was where the patriarch Abraham was born, in Syria, in search of the ancient epics such as the epic of creation, which included the story of Adam and Eve, the epic of Gilgamesh, which included the story of Noah and the flood. He had them translated in the modern Ashurit language of his day. However, the originals were 3,000 years older, but also in cuneiform. Interestingly, the stories have been preserved essentially the same. Ironically, by the time of Jesus Christ, the scriptures recorded during the Babylonian captivity 5 centuries before had become so narrowly interpreted that the scribes and Pharisees failed to recognize Jesus as the Messiah, the Son of God, prophesied by all those millennial religious records. Today, both Judaism and the Catholic Church, Roman Catholic Church, have realized the contribution of the cuneiform tablets of the Ashurit to the understanding of the roots of the Bible. The archaeologists Sir Henry Austin Layard and Hormuz Rassam, who was a Muslim, discovered the Ashurbanipal library intact in Nineveh and created the 50,000 tablets to the British Museum in London. They are the pride of the British Museum, together with the oldest ancient Aramaic Old Testament, which dates back to the 4th century AD. And there they are there. Epic of Creation tablet, 1500 BC, Ashurbanipal Library, British Museum, London. So we're going to have a look at the Breetah in Aramaic, or Genesis in English. Genesis 4. And Adam had intercourse with Eve, and she became pregnant and gave birth to Cain. And there's a footnote indication there. And that reads below as 4:1, literal Aramaic, Cain, or Cain, probably like gain, something like that. It means gain. The word is probably derived from the Aramaic And she further gave birth to his brother Abel, another footnote indication, 421, literal Aramaic Havil, Abel. Ironically, it's probably where the word Abel came from. And we're pondering about this name quite a while back, perhaps about a year ago, and we're thinking, Havil, we've heard that before. Havila, Naga Havila, right? Which is probably a different word translated when it's translated into the nearest English equivalent. But we thought, Havil, that sounds familiar. Havila. So we found that that was the name for modern day, that's the ancient name for modern day Kuwait. So we were thinking, we assumed, because we couldn't get hold of the translator Victor in Alexander to actually ask him, what does it actually mean? Havila mean possibly in the Aramaic or the Hebrew? Does it mean somewhere where the place where Abel was buried after Cain had killed him? Okay, so literal Aramaic Havil, Abel. Ironically, it's probably where the word Abel came from in our English language. So Eve further gave birth to Cain's brother Abel, and Abel became a herder. He raised goats and sheep, lambs, etc. So he's a shepherd. And Cain became a tiller of soil, probably a horticulturist or agriculturist. And the footnote has here literal Aramaic expression or idiom, work with the earth. Yeah, so he's a worker of the earth. Either a horticulturist or agriculturist. Very, very ancient one. Probably the very first one. And there came Cain after many years. Footnote indication. Doesn't necessarily mean, or probably doesn't even mean a day like we know a day as. 4-3 literal Aramaic idiom, and there's the word euma, cycles, eons, or ages. That's what it says years. It's a period, right? Unfathomable, but you know, let's say years, for argument's sake, as it says here. And there came Cain after many years, and brought of the fruit of his land, an offering to the Lord. Okay, so whatever it produced, he brought it as an offering to the Lord. Remember that Adam, because of his sin, the earth was cursed because of him. So he could grow plants, etc., etc., or it would grow plants and so forth, and bring forth fruit by his labour. Basically, because of his sin, the earth was cursed. That's why weeds come up amongst it and choked it, right? So you have to like till that garden or till that patch, get rid of those weeds that, you know, grow up and start to strangle your precious plants, your vegetables, your fruit trees, etc. Okay, whatever you're getting your source of sustenance or food from. And Abel also came and brought from the consecrated best of his herd and of his fatlings, and the Lord was pleased with Abel and his offering. And with Cain and his offering he was not pleased, because he knew the correct offering that God required, but he didn't listen, and he brought fruits or produce from the earth being cursed because of Adam's sin. And that really bothered Cain, and his face turned sour. He became this upside down clown with this horrible frown. And the Lord said to Cain, why did it upset you? Obviously you know the difference between good and evil, right and wrong. And why did your face turn sour? Look, Cain, if you glorify me, you shall be accepted. And if you do not, or you honour me, do what I require of you, you'll be all good. I'll be pleased with you. But if you don't, your evil Lord, put that indication there, awaits you at the gate of sin. 4-7 little Aramaic word, Rabishu, or Lord of Evil, from cuneiform records of Mesopotamia, several thousand years old. So this is where Victor in Alexander got a portion of his translations for his particular translation project from. Well, he went around the world and he looked at all the different cuneiform tablets, and he noticed that there was Aramaic underneath. So he somehow had the skills to translate both. Okay, so we're looking at Rabisu, or Rabishu. There's different dialects, so there might be a slight variation there, right? Okay, and we put this comment underneath it. That's what it looked like. It might be Gilgamesh chasing after it to kill it. Don't they look like sai swords? Very much like sai swords. You have it in karate circles to protect you against a flailing sword. It catches the sword, etc. So we have put a comment here in regards to it. Basically, what we've already covered. That Breetah in Aramaic, the book Genesis in English, translated into the nearest English equivalent by a native-born Aramaic-speaking translator, or the native-born Aramaic translator, Victor N. Alexander from Nahrein, Mesopotamia, reads, okay, what we basically read out. Your evil lord Rabisu or Rabishu awaits you at the gate of sin. In the brief guide to Islam, it's talking about the prefrontal lobe. That's your mind's gate. Okay, it's trying to enter into your mind, trying to plant the seed, trying to nurture it through temptation, etc. And then it grows and it becomes fruitful, right? And you commit those sins. That's what it's basically saying. So this evil lord awaits you at the gate of sin, and you will turn to him and he shall have authority over you. He'll rule over you. Once he's got you tempted and you sin, he's basically got that power over you to probably make you sin again and again. Right? He's got a foothold. Okay, and here's the footnotes here that we already covered. Rabishu or Lord of Evil from cuneiform records of Mesopotamia is 2,000 years old. And this is what the definition is online. Rabisu, and in Akkadian mythology, the Rabisu or Rabishu, the lurker, Sumerian maskim, deputy or attorney. So that's your lawyer. Or possibly Rabasa are vampiric spirits, daimons or demons. This is probably a Greek word. Daimon. The Rabisu are associated in mythology with the Curse of Akkad. A consistent translation of Rabisu is Lingerers, or crouches, right? One that crouches. So it's like this New Americanized modern Bible version that says sin crouches at your door, it awaits it's trying to make you sin, etc. It's tempting you to sin. It's planted the seed, basically. It nurtures it. And once it becomes fruitful, well, you sin, right? It keeps prodding you. That's the fruit it produces. Transgression, iniquities, or sin. Okay? So it's like whispering to you in your mind. This little voice in your mind saying, come on, you know you want it. Oh, if you could only just have it and you indulge in it, wow, fantastic, you know, all that tension release, all that sort of temptation, right? And all designed to make you stray, transgress, break God's commands. Okay, and there's two links there. Yeah. So we'll go back to that translation. So Cain said to Abel his brother, we are better off outside. Footnote indication, literal Aramaic idiomatic expression retained, we do not need this. We don't need to fight each other. We don't do this sort of, differences between us, because you did this, I did that. We're better off outside. Let's go for a walk. And while they're in the field, Cain rose up against Abel his brother and killed him. And the Lord said to him, Cain, where's Abel your brother? He says, I don't know. Why am I my brother's guard? And the Lord said to him, what did you do? The blood, 14 literal Aramaic idiomatic expression, the voice of his blood, because life is in the blood, isn't it? It's crying out from the earth. It's probably crying out for, hey God, help me. Vengeance upon him, he killed me. Vengeance upon my brother. Henceforth you are cursed by the earth that opens its mouth and receive the blood of your brother from your hands. As you work the earth, it will not flourish and give you its yield. You will be a wanderer, shall be a wanderer and a nomad on the earth, one who lives in desert regions, pitches tents, raises goats, sheep, lambs, etc. That's the true meaning of Arab. Okay? And Cain said, my errors are too great to be forgiven. And God says, look, and he says to God, look, you've removed me from in this age, or in this era, this eon, from the face of the earth, and I lie hidden from your presence. Hidden before you. That's a Aramaic idiomatic expression, as it states here in the footnotes, and so forth. So that is lesson for today, explaining what is the Rabisu or Rabishu. It's the devil or a demon, sin crouching at your door. In your Americanized modern English Bible versions, it will say sin crouches at your gate, it awaits, and it enters, and it will rule over you. It wishes to conquer you, etc.